Hi, everyone. Good evening. Welcome back for Detox tonight. Hope you're all doing well. Hey, Roz. Hi, Emily. Taylor. Oh, Roz, I was talking about Ari this morning on the live stream. He said that the first 7 or 8 days he was doing okay, and then as people have said, it'll get worse, like in the ninth, 10th, 11th day, and that's what happened to him. So he's been experiencing the whole bit, the shortness of breath. He said excruciating headaches. This was a couple days ago, so he was hoping to be past the worst of it, but he didn't see that coming, even though people said that could happen. So we were sending him some good vibes this morning, and you guys can continue tonight. But definitely feeling it. Said the headaches are just horrific, and the shortness of breath. And that's somebody Ari had done every single yoga class with us. So saying maybe it gave him a little bit of a foundation, and just having some breath work on his side, but still just gets in there, the infection. And so I'll check in with him again probably tonight or tomorrow, and I'll let you guys know. Hi, Kesu. Nikita, good evening. If you guys are still getting your things set around your mat, we're actually going to start in a little supported butterfly pose tonight. So I'll show you if you're still making your way to your mat. I have the yoga block, but if you don't, you can just take a pillow and fold it up so that it's got a little bit of height to it. And the length of the pillow is running with the length of your spine. If you have a block, obviously you can use it. Yeah, totally, Roz. It's definitely supposed to damage your lungs. Think about it. If it gets in there and does its damage, it's gonna leave behind the scar tissue and whatnot. It's something you'd be dealing with for the rest of your life in some way. It's a nasty process. So once you get your block set, come down onto your elbows and then scoot your bums so that your middle to your upper spine is going to rest on the stack. So depending on how much you're feeling there in your back, you want to go slow. And then you might want to have a secondary support underneath your head. If as you start to bring your head back, it intensifies too much. But if you're able to let the head come all the way back down. And then once you get set there through the upper body, the hips are on the mat, the soles of the feet come together, and the knees fall apart. So supported, supine Baddha Konasana, block or your stack underneath your spine. And if you need to make any subtle adjustments, you can do that. Give and receive. and then receive and give. And so even though once you have those moments where you wake up or where you realize the yoga, the union, you can give that back out. You don't have to hold on to it or hoard it, as they say. There's a whole practice in yoga around non-hoarding. And so you're freely receiving and then you're freely giving. That's why a lot of things that we've seen play out in the yoga world just don't make sense, because in the philosophy of yoga, it's a complete contradiction. So as you start to dive a little bit deeper, if you wanted to pick up the Google and Google the yamas and the niyamas, you'll probably find at this point, even if you've never heard of the yamas and the niyamas, you'll find that these are things that you've been experiencing and entertaining in your practice. Definitely things that I talk about quite a bit. Go ahead and settle. And perhaps just now you're starting to feel the opportunity of being in this position. If that first bit, you were gripping and the body was holding on, once you start to release, notice those points that are gripping. You bring your awareness towards those parts of your body and literally tell them to relax. And sometimes we have to reassure ourselves from the inside out that it's okay, that you're okay. In this moment, you are okay. You feel it, but take your time and start to bring your knees back up together first. And use your elbows, use a little bit of strength in your belly as your head is going to feel quite heavy. And start to lift your head up. And then as you get your head up enough, you're just going to lean onto your left side. And come off of that stack. Leave it behind you. And come into the fetal position. Reach your left arm up. And your head to rest on the inner part of your bicep. Bring yourself back from that rebound. Use your right hand. And come over onto your hands and knees on all fours. And take your stack, slide it up towards the top of your mat. And then place if you have a block, place your hands, thumbs and forefingers around the edges of your block. And if it's a pillow, you just want your hands about shoulder width apart, and then turn your elbows down one at a time. And so your forearms are parallel to each other, and start to walk your knees back. Release the hips into the ground. And set the distance and so that you're not gripping in your shoulders. You might feel a general compression through your low back. But if it's really tight, take your knees and take your feet out a little bit wider. You find a place where you can balance on the front of your hips. Use little or less strength in your arms. And the arms are fixed, and so even when you let your chin come down, and you're not collapsing into your shoulders. So if you're collapsing into your shoulders, you need to bring your elbows in a little bit closer. And then you can let your chin come towards your chest. And you may have a lot of sensation in your hands, through your elbows and your arms and your shoulders. You could sit with that. can take whatever in between your hands and start to slide it out and away from you over the top of your mat. And let that release your chest down onto the ground. Split your elbows wide and bring the right side of your head, your cheek into the mat. And take a breath, brings you back. And chin onto the mat. And then switch to your left cheek. Please. Bring it back with a breath, chin to the mat. Bring your hands under your shoulders and start to bring yourself up to all fours. And crawl your knees forward once you make your way to your shins. It may be nice to take your stack, put it in between your feet, and then sit down, whether it's a block or a pillow. And so you're not putting as much weight down through the tops of the feet into the ankles and the shins. And take your hands, make gentle fists, and then take the knuckles down. So if you're going to, hit something with the flat part of your fist, put that part into the top. And then keep your fist there, keep your bum heavy, and start to roll your torso down.
And so your fists are going to compress into the upper thighs. And we'll expand some space back into the hip creases. And as you release over the fists, soften the belly best you can. And your head can touch the ground. And if you need to come back up and reset, put something under your head, you can do that. And then let your elbows release, and your bum stays as heavy as it can. And keep relaxing the elbows. And close your eyes and begin to roll yourself back up. And go slow, please. I know it's challenging. As you feel that weight release, and belly to chest, eyes closed, and you can release those fists. Let your palms face up. And you might feel a nice little float. You stack the spine, relax the face, and hang out here for a second. Go ahead and take a nice deep breath into your nose. Fill your belly, fill your chest, and take out those wrinkles in your posture. And then sigh, exhale, and release all the air.
And keep your stack underneath your bum. Lean to the left and bring your right leg out in front of you. So now you have support underneath your right sitting bone. Relax your right leg. The toes can even fall out. And bow your forehead down. If it's too much with your hands on the mat, you can rest your forearms onto your thighs. As you drop into a forward fold, as we know it's not the easiest position for the body to be in, you sort of bridge the gap, if you will. You can always use support underneath your forearms. You can always use your arms. And then gradually introduce, a deeper fold. And you started with your forearms on your thighs, and you want to go a little bit deeper. Bring your hands onto the mat. And let your head hang heavy. And bow into it about one more minute.
use the hands, please. Start to walk them in. Hey, rolling your way, catch your wind. Feel the weight come out of your spine. Lean to the left a little bit. Take your stack out from underneath your right leg. And then rock off onto your right hip. Swing your left leg out in front of you so that we can lie down onto our back. Feels good to release into a supported neutral. If you'd like some traction for your cervical spine up in your neck, you can always put your block or your stack underneath your head like a pillow. And the leg should have no problem in feeling heavy here and being still. So find a comfortable shape for your arms and enjoy the rebound. Notice as you evolve in your rebounds, you're hovering in that. You're awake, not sleeping. But it's different than being awake and alert. Put a bend to your legs so your feet are flat. And take your arms over your head. Give yourself a bit of a stretch. If you're a little sore, your shoulders and your arms, hold that stretch. And gently rock on the back of your hips, on your sacrum, knees side to side. And then bring your knees down to the right. Use your left hand. So we'll be facing the opposite direction. And come around to all fours. And bring your block or your stack back in between your feet. And sit back onto it. And then lean to your right. Bring your left leg out in front. And so your stack supports you underneath your left sit bone. And relax the toes, crawl the hands forward, and take a bow. And you'll see if it's pretty intense straight away. And that's when you can start with your forearms on your thighs. And to help you settle before you take your hands onto the mat. relax in it. It's a bit more challenging, of course, but since we've been practicing together every night, when I give you more space and more silence, it draws the attention and the awareness into the sensations and what's going on inside of your body versus, even just listening to me speak. So, and that's why I'm giving you more space. And so don't be surprised if it's, not feeling easier, if you're like, well, is this getting a little bit more challenging to sit still or to be with your thoughts? That's the direction we're going. If you'd like to take it deeper, hands onto the mat and fold. Last minute. Close the eyes, begin to walk the hands back in, and you can roll yourself back up through your spine. Always feeling, always opening. Feeling this process and the transition. You lean to your right a little bit and take your stack out from underneath your left leg. And then lean over to your left, and so that you can untuck your right leg and bring it out in front of you. You scoot forward if you need to, and then lie down onto your back. And once you lie down, if you'd like to have in the stack under your head like a pillow, you feel the support releasing your spine into a neutral space with the ground beneath you. Enjoy the rebound. If you have something under your head, slide it out and bring it down by either side of your body and let your head release. You bend your legs so that your feet are flat, and then we're going to put the stack underneath your low back and cross your hips underneath your sacrum. So press through your feet and then go ahead and slide your stack in. Any height. A lower will be less intense, so if you're really feeling it, just go lower. The higher may bring on a little bit more sensation. And once you get set, shoulders down, head is relaxed, then you can straighten your legs out.
And so you've just inverted the position that you started in. So instead of having the hips down and the block underneath your spine, you have the block under your hips and then and your spine vertically going to your shoulders, resting down onto the mat. It can be quite a bit draining from your hip flexors, deeper into your psoas, muscles from your inner thighs to your low back. And let's go ahead and bring some support back into your hips. Bend your legs so that your feet are flat. And a little achiness there in your low back for sure. And feel your feet. And lift your bum ever so slightly and slide your stack out. And one vertebra at a time from your upper spine to your lower spine. And bring your low back to the mat. Tailbone touches last. You feel the support of the ground into your back. And keep your legs bent and gently rock your knees to the right and then back to the left. This practice will slow you down. And notice how everything slows down within all the layers that we talk about in the practice, in the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. Knees back and forth. And last time, if you still want to block pillow or your stack as a pillow underneath your head, you can place it. And once you're there, let your legs go out straight. And shoulders heavy, chin settling in. Find the space with your legs. If you want to take your heels a little wider, bring them in a little bit closer. And you'll feel the point where your outer hips, your glutes, will relax and release. If your feet are too wide, they may not relax and release. So bring them in a little bit closer. And take your arms into any shape that feels comfortable. And let's land in our Shavasana tonight. And notice the state of your being right now. your whole self, and how in tune, how in touch you are with the inner workings of yourself, and what you've been able to receive from your practice. And you'll be able to exponentially give in a much more natural way. This won't be a way of giving where you're stressing about it. In a very natural way, you can exponentially give based upon what you have received and continue to absorb from all of your practices up to this point. And you know you're doing something special when you think about the stark contrast. And that is most of the energy that you're feeling throughout the day into the energy that you're feeling right now. Just let that be enough. And so you know you're doing something pretty special. And you don't have to know why you're doing it. You can just know that you're doing it, that you're in it. It's a pretty good place to be considering you had no idea where you were going. And so if you can find the trust within this place and this sanctuary, I know it feels like we're in a bubble when we're practicing because there's not 8 billion people practicing with us. But I assure you this is so remote from the bubble. This is the opposite of opening ourselves into everything, everywhere. If you're picking up on any pulsations, sensations, and where you can trace and just let the mind hover around whatever that sensation may be without flinching or moving, you can do that. Might take you deeper into your meditation. And of course, you're welcome to stay. You could really be feeling it tonight, so you can stay. Don't let me be the one that pulls you out. Stay as long as you'd like. And have a nice rest, and I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow. One day at a time. And thank you for your practice, everyone. Namaste.